I think Kathy Griffin is a guarantee to get sued because she went out there and said, please dox these kids. Please dox them. I mean, that's all. Frankly, I don't think that's ever happened before. She did retract one offending tweet when I asked her to do so, but she didn't retract that tweet. So she's on pace to get sued unless she settles it within the next week. The same is true for Maggie Haberman, from the lead reporter for the New York Times, who lied about these kids, misled the world about these kids, called for these kids to be expelled based on a video she had failed to properly vet and read and review. And even when she knew it was false, even when her own newspaper printed that her original version of the story was false, she has refused to correct her personal statement. So she's going to be subject to suit as the lead reporter, the lead White House reporter for the New York Times. In addition, there's going to be others. Matthew Dowd, who's a big commentator for ABC News. He's one of those sort of fake Republicans, originally from Austin. So there's a range of people that we put notice on. There's about a dozen other people that we've given notices to, and some of them have corrected, many of them have not. And those that have not are subject to suit, and those suits will be filed over the next month if they don't settle.
We've got a intrepid reporter and patriot there at the Kentucky Catholic High School. We'll be going to Stuart Rhodes here of Oath Keepers in just a moment. And since I mentioned it, here is Bill Maher blaming the young people a week after it was admitted that they didn't start the argument, they did nothing wrong, still blaming them and then making a pedophilic joke. Here it is.
But the black Hebrews started to mix it up with these Catholic high school kids who were there from Kentucky, right, okay, and they were there with a big pro-life march, and then a Native American elder playing a drum got in the middle to mediate. And now it's a big thing, and, you know, people saying the kid, I don't blame the kid, the smirking kid. I blame lead poisoning. And bad parenting, and oh yeah, I blame that kid. What a little prick. Smirk face. Smirk face says, please. Like, that's not a dick move at any age to stick your face in this elderly man's. And this smirking kid says he was just trying to diffuse the situation by, really? You know what, next time you get into a fight with your wife or your husband or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, try that. Try getting 2 inches from their face with a shit-eating grin and see if it diffuses the situation. Yes? You asked me, this kid should have done what everyone does during a drum solo. Leave. But, really, I mean, I don't spend a lot of time, I must tell you, around Catholic school children. But I do not get what Catholic priests see in these kids.
We know what you get. The name of your production company is Kid Love, and we have clips of you saying that 12-year-olds should be able to have sex with 35-year-olds because it's just love, the actual slogan of NAMBLA. But that's a side issue. We have Robert Barnes, lawyer for some of the young people who first started the ball rolling pro bono, here in studio with us. And we also have Stuart Rhodes at the scene there at Covington High School in Kentucky. He's running an operation, founder of Oath Keepers. Pops in with us. Robert, pop in anytime as well here. But you've got a press release out on this, call to action, standing up for the students of Covington High, because here we are 2 weeks later, they're still putting out disinfo attacking them.
Absolutely. You have death threats. Unfortunately, here at the school, especially have Homeland Security here, as well as law enforcement, because of the nationwide libel and slander against these students. That has caused terrorists on the political left to jump on them and for the first time in our nation's recent history, threaten children with death. It's disturbing and disgusting. And so we're here to offer our protection to the students going to and from school, and if they need it, at their homes.
Well, that's great, and I want to get your report more on that. There's really high wind there, Stuart. If you can jump in your truck or your car, we'll come right back to you at the next segment. But I want people to be able to hear exactly what you say. Robert Barnes, again, this case is super important because it illustrates the entire spectrum of disinformation and a corporate press ready to join together in fraud, and it shows who their enemy is, independent little islands that haven't fallen to Hollywood's control. What comes next, and what do you make of Bill Maher?
I mean, Bill Maher's biggest mistake was, even though he's a comedian, he's on live TV. So verbal slander is treated differently than written slander in Kentucky. So he's on a little bit safer legal grounds. And because he's a comedian, he said, and he has a history of saying crazy things in general, he has a certain flexibility with what he says. His mistake here was being so specific about a fact. When he said this kid got into the native elder's face. So Mr. Salmon's represented by a very good lawyer out of Atlanta, Lynn Wood, who said he's now evaluating the Bill Maher statements, and I'm sure he will. And looking at it from a third-party perspective, that's a lie by Bill Maher. And it's a very simple lie because the kid didn't get into anybody's face.
And it's a lie once the ultimatum's already out there that we're watching you.
Absolutely. So he knew it was a lie. He just repeats the lie. How would Bill Maher like it if somebody kept going up into his face and following him around everywhere and putting a drum in his face and beating the drum in his face? Bill Maher, I've seen how he's reacted in other situations. He's run at them. He's run after them. He's attacked them. That's been his reaction. So for him to sit there and attack some kid he still doesn't know based on a video he didn't obviously read, or if he did, he's just lying about it. He either didn't watch it, didn't review it, didn't read what happened, or he simply lying about it. Either way, he's making a false statement about a kid that's verifiably false, that has subjected him to potential litigation.
And they've already had to shut down the school. They've gotten bomb threats. They've gotten death threats. Who are some of the other prime candidates for suits here? I know you want to give away your attack before it happens, but we've got Kathy Griffin. We've got others.
I think Kathy Griffin is a guarantee to get sued because she went out there and said, please dox these kids. Please dox them. I mean, that's all, frankly, I don't think that's ever happened before of a celebrity.
And she said, don't think they wouldn't do it to you.
Exactly. These kids have no clue who Kathy Griffin is. So the idea that they would ever dox her is insane. But the fact that she would go out there and call for it, refuse to retract it, refuse to correct it. She did retract one offending tweet when I asked her to do so, but she didn't retract that tweet. So she's on pace to get sued unless she settles it within the next week. The same is true for Maggie Haberman, from the lead reporter for the New York Times, who lied about these kids, misled the world about these kids, called for these kids to be expelled based on a video she had failed to properly vet and read and review. And even when she knew it was false, even when her own newspaper printed that her original version of the story was false, she has refused to correct her personal statement. So she's going to be subject to suit as the lead reporter, the lead White House reporter for the New York Times. In addition, there's going to be others. Matthew Dowd, who's a big commentator for ABC News. He's one of those sort of fake Republicans, originally from Austin, way back, his family's from Michigan, got his name defamed by working for the W campaign, and then attacking W, got him onto ABC, and now he's sort of their local fake Republican, just like Anna Navarro, who also lied about these kids and has refused to fully retract and correct. She's subject to potential suit. So there's a range of people that we put notice on. There's about a dozen other people that we've given notices to, and some of them have corrected, many of them have not. And those that have not are subject to suit, and those suits will be filed over the next month if they don't settle.
Do you think this is going to make Now This and other groups that help stage these things a little more paranoid, knowing that, hey, conservatives and others are ready to sue you?
That's the goal. The objective is they are so accustomed to facing no consequence, no impact, no effect whatsoever to their reckless, rogue, lawless acts that they have grown too arrogant, and they need to be brought back down to life, brought back down to reality of the situation.
That's right. Let's go back to Stuart Rhodes. He's there at the high school with this big national group, Oath Keepers, a veteran patriot, needs no introduction here. Again, because your audio was breaking up earlier, recap why you're there, the operation you guys have launched.
Well, yes, we're here to stand for the students and to stand against terrorism, basically. They have a right to free speech and assembly and association, and they should not be threatened with death. This is disturbing that we haven't talked about this in this country, that school children being threatened with being murdered because they dare to be pro-life or wear a MAGA hat on their head. And it's directly because of the slander and libel of the mass media in this country that this is happening. So Mr. Barnes is correct. They need to be called out and held to account for it. And frankly, there should be prosecutions as well for terrorism. This is what this is. The use of force, the threatened use of force for political ends, which is exactly what Antifa has been doing for 2 years now. But now it's being applied to children. And frankly, it's at once no surprise because of the pattern of the left, but also disturbing. This is where we're at now in this country.
Now, stay there. We're going to come back next segment with both of you, because I should also say, you're not just a veteran and everything else and a great patriot. You're also a constitutional lawyer, award-winning as well from some of the same universities as this guy. So we can get two constitutional lawyers take on this perspective about how crazy, because conservatives and nationalists and patriots, we're not drama queens. But when you pull back, these are high school and middle school students who are also there being death threatened. The media is ganging up on it, saying they still deserve it a week and a half later. That is sensational. That is sensational.
No doubt about it. I mean, it's scandalous. I mean, what they did to these kids, what they're willing to do to your kids, to anybody else's kids, that's the frightening thing, and that's the real message here. The message is we can destroy your kid's future, everything about your kid's future. Not only can we make their life a living hell now with death threats and personal threats and the rest, we can jeopardize their college admissions, we can jeopardize their future employment, we can jeopardize everything about their futures.
They're telling you, you support Trump or make America great again, we're going to ruin your life. What a dangerous authoritarian group. Democrats in Congress saying ban the MAGA hat. We'll be right back. I'm Alex Jones, Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com, NewsWars.com, tomorrow's News Today. We are the tip of the spear, and only are here because of your support.
CBD-rich hemp oil is totally organic, all natural, something God gave us, and it doesn't have THC in it, and it's totally legal in all 50 states. This is where everybody's going. This is what your body actually needs. There are so many different spectrums of this natural oil that comes from hemp, now legal and lawful in all 50 states, that you need to just go research it for yourself. Now, obviously, there's been a giant marijuana legalization craze that Soros has funded the last 10 years. I've not been involved in that. It's a huge bubble. This is not marijuana. There are hundreds of varieties of hemp. This is industrial hemp that has all the good attributes, but not the bad attributes that turn people into potheads in their basements, picking and eating their boogers. This is the good CBD from the organic hemp oil. And there are so many great products that you simply need to go to InfoWarsStore.com and link over to WashingtonsReserve.com, or simply go to WashingtonsReserve.com yourself to look at all the products, to read about the history, and to see the facts for yourself. So 360 win. There are different CBD rich hemp oil extractions for many, many, many different uses. You owe it to yourself to go look at this for yourself, and to also understand it helps fund the info war. People wonder why I haven't gotten into CBD oil. Well, because some of the stuff's got problems, some of it can get you high, and some of it can get you arrested. This is not that. Legal in all 50 states. It's from hemp, not marijuana. It's totally legal. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we can ship to all 50 states right now from the great website, WashingtonsReserve.com.